Hey everyone, Jesse is here to talk about Diablo 2 Resurrected. So, I recorded a video of my first ever torch run in Diablo 2 Resurrected. I was a little behind. I lagged a bit because I got a late start. I didn't actually buy or install the game until the day after it was released to the public. I love this game. I think Diablo 2 is my favorite game of all time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit play on this, and I think I'm going to go to 2x speed in a little bit. The thing that disappoints me about this video is that the recording didn't come out great. Part of that is on me. I think I just had overloaded my machine at the time, but it was my first ever torch run in the new environment, Diablo 2 Resurrected. And so I still thought it was important enough to go with the recording. So I apologize for the video. I thought this was overall a pretty clean run. I took it very, very slowly and very, very carefully. This Diablo 2 Resurrected experience has been more positive than I expected. I think part of that is because outside of some crashes that have really irked me, the game is running pretty smoothly. I was expecting that teleport, for example, the sorceress spell, to have a lot of trouble, lag. I was expecting, to be honest, I don't know what I expected, but it runs pretty smooth on this main machine. I bought a second account, I think 3 or 4 days into the opening of Diablo 2 Resurrected. I'm using my work laptop, laptop on the side here. I'll put my camera towards it. It's right there. What I'm using that laptop for while I play is I enter games with my support build, the Battle Orders Barbarian. And I'm really sorry for the stuttering. So I'm taking this a lot slower. When I played on the /Diablo servers, for one, we had a map pack available, so I knew where Uber Tristram was, and two, I teleported long teleports, really YOLO'd it, because I never lost a game on those servers. I had 4 boxes available to log into these games. I got a little bit lucky with the Azul spawn. He didn't have a lot of people around him, and every now and then the bosses do have a lot of enemies around them. I'm actually using my second account to stay in the game while I switch my main account from the sorceress to the Smiter Paladin. I'm pretty pleased with how smoothly and quickly I was able to level up both the bow barb and the Smiter Paladin to get to the point where I'm able to run Ubers. I did all this solo, and by that I mean I didn't have a session with a team leveling me up. I basically did all the work myself. I made public normal bail games, public nightmare bail games, and crushed the leveling process. It actually took me longer than I thought. I thought I would /Diablo, I can get it done in like a day. I mean, I can crush it. And this, it probably took me a good 2 days just because I wasn't adjusted to the inconvenience of having to switch computers. We're watching me smite down Uber Azul. Very exciting stuff. Again, sorry for the stuttering. And that was a lot clunkier than I'd hoped. On the /Diablo private servers, I generally have a bow barb screen either on the same screen as my main account or just right off on another monitor. It makes it a lot easier to log in and out. Regardless, the leveling process was definitely interesting, but once I basically jumped through that hurdle, I realized pretty early on and quickly on that traditional trading with my /Diablo community who were playing Diablo 2 Resurrected was not a practical solution. So I had to seek alternatives, and I am extremely disappointed to say that I made a D2JSP account. D2JSP is a website where people can exchange online goods for a form of currency called forum gold. You can buy forum gold for real money, which obviously bothers the shit out of me that someone else is profiting off of me trading with players in Diablo 2, but unfortunately, it's the most practical way to gear up in this environment. On the slash Diablo servers, that is extremely frowned upon, and the bartering system is generated by rune values. And if you have an Ohm rune, it's approximately 1. And then if you have a Vex rune, that's half of an Ohm rune, so that's 0.5. You basically barter and break down runes and exchange goods that way. The truth is, D2JSP is a lot more straightforward because you can break down Forum Gold into much smaller increments. I'm I'm a little disappointed, but the reality is, unlike Path of Exile, this Diablo 2 Resurrected reset is using the same means of exchange that the old BattleNet used, which was plagued with bots. And D2JSP is the most popular and the most practical. And I have done a couple of trades using trading discords, but overall I found those to be slower. Just not, I don't think it's the right way to do it. A lot of people with not a lot of game knowledge who are putting up really bad deals. I wonder how many people are taking those deals. I don't know. All this to say, the values of things in the D2JSP forum environment are totally different than the values of things in the slash Diablo environment. Oh, actually, this is interesting. I get very lucky here. What we're seeing is I'm shopping at the Mala merchant to the NPC sells +3 war cries spears if you get lucky because it's a randomly generated magic item. And I happen to only have a +2 Warcry spear equipped right now. And so I'm like, happen to be, while I'm running Ubers, checking her shop and lucky into that. So this actually was a pretty lucky run. The other thing I didn't mention about this, so you see me drinking a antidote potion. I mean, it glitches out. It's so stuttery. I'm really disappointed. But this was overall smooth run. I did get lucky twice here. You're gonna see me get lucky again at Uber Duriel. This is my extremely inexpensive smiter build, so the process of smiting her down, it's sped up right now. It actually takes a long time. And Uber Duriel as well, the one with the highest hit points, just takes a while. Takes longer than if I had better equipment. But I'm using basically the Crushing Blow, Life Tap, and Open Wounds approach that doesn't necessarily maximize the damage. Uber Duriel, you're about to see me get incredibly lucky here because I don't have to bother teleporting. My smiter can just walk right in because I find Uber Duriel basically at the portal. And you actually saw the same thing with Lilith. So I really actually, this was overall a lucky run. It was smooth because I didn't die with any character, but it also was lucky. My goal of doing this, the first Uber, I actually decided to sell the torch unidentified because I thought that that was worth it. Turns out it's kind of on the edge of being worth it. People buy unidentified torches for like about 1,000 forum gold, and the total cost of all the keys is like right at 8 something, I think. That's not a huge deal of profit. So maybe if I identified the torch, I'd get lucky. But I think because people have pre-existing wealth on the D2JSP environment, which really bothers me. In fact, that's probably the reason that I will continue to play Path of Exile and not necessarily focus all of my attention on this game. I love the reset feel, and especially I think I like this game overall more because Path of Exile is so zoomed in and I feel like it hurts my eyes after a while. Path of Exile is just so clunky and zoomed in. Whereas this game is it's not exactly buttery smooth, but I just love this game. So I think I'll probably do both resets. I'll be flexible. I'll play Diablo 2 Resurrected if I have time, and if it's a recent reset, and I'll play Path of Exile, kind of the same deal. So what I've been doing during this process, by the way, you didn't see me. I've been handing off, basically dropping the organs that drop from the Uber bosses to my Battle Orders Barbarian. And he's the one who's going to cube those up and make the Uber Tristram portal for my Smiter. Smiter's about to hop in there. Yeah, this is really struggling. This is even struggling more than I thought. But, I mean, I just wanted to at least have this recorded for future reference if anyone is trying to put Chrome with a bunch of tabs, Diablo 2 Resurrected, which doesn't have great performance all the time, and OBS, both pulling on your SSD, OBS recording straight to SSD. Turns out that even a decent GPU struggles a little bit, but I should encode the videos differently. I end up taking these Ubers very, very slowly. I got very lucky with that Uber Mephisto. You didn't even actually see it because I killed him so fast. And now I'm about to try to approach and try to figure out where Uber Diablo and Uber Baal are. I see them, and then I just immediately run right towards them to smite because I want life tap to proc as quickly as possible. And I'm using the Dracul's Grasp unique gloves, which has a chance to cast the life tap first. Now, I stand basically in the mix of all the enemies they spawn and just attack them down. The only thing I'm really concerned about is running out of mana, because that's more of an irritating thing. I don't really expect to die in this situation. The only time I actually die is when I try to screen cap the 2 dropped items, the Standard of Heroes and the Large Charm, the unique Large Charm. Yeah, I try to do this. This is such a dumb move. I almost die, but I don't. And I'm like, yeah, it's not even worth it. It doesn't matter. And then I pop back in with my Sorceress to pick up the torch. But overall, big thoughts that I'm left with after spending most of my free time this week and over the weekend on this game. The big takeaway is that I'm really disappointed and saddened that there's not a good way to reset everyone's ability to gain currency through a platform like D2JSP that has a medium of exchange. So Path of Exile, obviously people trade the in-game currency that they find on the ground as they play the game for items, for uniques, for whatever they need. In Diablo 2 Resurrected, if you need a specific unique item, you either have to hope that you have a rune that the other person wants, or you have some type of way to exchange fairly to get the item you want. You don't actually have a good way to break down the value of an item in Diablo 2. So my thought was that, there should just be some way, similar to Slash Diablo, having 1 ohm equaling 1 as the standard currency based around an ohm rune. There should be a standard currency that everyone kind of accepts as fact or as reality in this game. But because it's so eclectic, it is such an old game, and there are all these discords and trading discords, the most practical environment, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, is D2JSP, which just kills me. Because I don't want to be there. I don't want to give. I prefer there to be some type of trading environment that's not plagued by bots and by a real money exchange. I mean, obviously, I'm not spending a dime on this website, but overall, I do see myself continuing to play this game for a while. Certainly, this particular. I mean, right now, I'm as soon as I'm off of this video recording, I do think I'm probably going to run another torch tonight. Approval from me. I really wish they cut out the crashes. This game does crash, has a tendency to give, fatal application errors. But briefly, the 2 required items for the cheap version of the Smiter, in my opinion, is a Ravenfrost ring and a Gulam's Face winged helm. And everything else, I think there are kind of some flexible gear choices here. Dracul's Grasp, I got very fortunate. I was farming Mephisto for a few days and landed this. It was quite lucky, actually. It's probably the best in slot for a Smiter. Black, obvious, the cheapest way to get Crushing Blow with attack speed. 4 perfect diamonds in a Paladin shield. This is a Sacred Rondish. Had enough strength because Gulam's Face requires some decent strength regardless. I also am using the Gore Rider War Boots. The alternative here is the Goblin Toe light plated boots. This is just a random rare ring with resist. It's actually probably maybe the worst piece of gear. A lot of people use a Dwarf Star. I actually think the worst piece of gear is probably one pally, a bunch of resistance, amulet. These are both just rare items. And then I'm using smoke, of course. Resistance is really just paramount for this build. This is a crafted belt. It's using the blood craft. I got lucky with the life roll, and there are a couple of good alternatives here, but I just figured why not have a little bit more open wounds. So I think that's it for the video. All right. Have a good night, folks.